Hi, my name is Jeanie and I'm your old Hollywood psychic, and today we'll be channeling the spirit of Ava Gardner. I'm very excited to read for her, so let's get straight into it. Okay, so let's start with the devil. So Ava Gardner had very intense romantic relationships and affairs. I don't think these were your typical relationships though. I think these were these men spoiled her to absolute death, but they lacked the stability that she was looking for, that solid foundation that she wanted. She wasn't getting from these men. But they were things that she fought for. These were relationships that she fought for regardless. These weren't relationships that, they came and went. These were, I wouldn't say long term, but for her, they were long term. They lasted. They weren't just, this was a fling, this was that. These were important, significant relationships that she reflected on, and she reflected on them quite often. By nature, she's a very joyous person. She celebrated everything from career to friends to relationships. I do think she valued romantic relationships above her platonic ones. And in terms of romantic relationships, she attracted men of status. Now, this isn't to say that they were larger than life, but this is to say that in some form or other, in their field, they had a name for themselves. They were successful. They were very, very secure in terms of material wealth and abundance. They were mentally and emotionally stable too. I don't think her relationships ever interfered with her career. Somehow her private and public life, even though they were one, they were still very separate. They never interfered with each other, although they were both out there. But she did a lot of self-reflection. I think she was rather introverted. I don't think she was a social butterfly. I don't think she enjoyed going to events or parties or anything like that. Much preferred being in her own space, her own company. She's one of those people, she would rather be alone and content than lonely in a crowd. 10 of Wands in reverse. I don't think she blamed herself for her relationships, but I do think she fought for them quite a lot. I don't think she ever felt like she was, it's not to say that she wasn't good enough. I think she felt that she could have done more. There was more that she could have done in her relationships. More effort, more time, more praise, more appreciation, more gratitude. And because she felt like she wasn't given enough of that and she didn't know really how to, she wasn't entirely honest or truthful with herself. So I think in her relationships, she struggled to express herself a bit. Again, that's why she did a lot of meditation and looking inwards, because she really struggled with, I've got these relationships, they mean the world to me, but they're not stable, they don't give me what I want, but they give me comfort, but not stability. I don't feel like I'm putting in enough of my all, but I know that I am, and I feel like I'm being honest, but I know that I'm not being entirely truthful. It's this real contradiction. It's, this and that, and but this, but that. It's a lot of that. I do think that in her passing, she found a whole lot of closure. I do think passing away, or the end of her life, was a wish fulfillment in some sense. There are going to be people out there that don't really understand what that means, but when you speak to those that have passed away, there is this common theme of, with death comes closure, with death comes peace. It doesn't necessarily mean that they've enjoyed their passing or that their passing was a fantastic event, but there's closure in the soul. The soul's at peace, it's at rest. For most of the time it is. You have a lot of souls out there that will never get a day's rest, that will never find peace. And that's my job to, when they come into my space and when I communicate with them, to try and give them as much closure and peace as I can, so that they leave a little bit more comfortable than when they entered my space. For Ava, she found peace in passing away. Her relationships made more sense in the spiritual context than it did in the physical realm. She was very smart, she was very intelligent, she was a very bright person, but very introverted. She was not someone that you would see very often. She was someone that you would see once in a while, and absence makes the heart grow fonder. Because you saw so little of her, you couldn't wait to see her again. You know that scene in The Wizard of Oz when Glenda, the good witch, comes down in that pink bubble? Every spirit has their own Glenda-like bubble. Ava Gardner's bubble, whatever you want to call it really, is yellowy and white. It's really beautiful. It's so pure and innocent and joyful, and there's nothing dull or anxious about her. Even though she's very introverted, she's so incredibly light. She's saying the name Frankie, like Frankie spoiled me to death. Like he could have spoiled me to absolute death. I don't think Frank Sinatra was the love of her life, but she adored him. She's at peace, she's very comfortable, she's very content. She spends a lot of her time now around music, around the people that she loves. I don't see a lot of family, but I do see a lot of friends. Smokes. Smokes and gin. Smokes and gin, friends and music is what she's saying. She did it while she was alive, and she does it now in the afterlife. Okay. I don't think there's anything else that Ava needs us to know. Is there anything Ava needs us to know? Nothing except that she's happy. Okay.
Well, you must be Ava Gardner.
Ava Gardner is